What was your Thanksgiving drama this year? My 21-year-old sister will graduate from college in less than a month. My brother congratulated her on being the first person in our family to graduate college without getting pregnant. Turns out that's not true. She started sobbing and got in her car and drove away. Whoops. In-laws are visiting from out of town. Except father-in-law decided to leave yesterday and go home before Thanksgiving and did not come back. He told my wife and I. Just not his wife. Mother-in-law is still here. FYI, this is normal for him. Had to call a tow truck on some teenager. Friend of front neighbor's kid. Because he wouldn't move his car that was blocking my mom's driveway. She told him to move it since she needed to get something for dinner. He answered that he shouldn't had to move it because it's a public street. I go get the stuff and then get home. I again tell him to move it because I want to park up the driveway. Shouts at me that I can find parking up the street. Now he has no car for Thanksgiving and cop gave him a ticket. Sue. My aunt pretended to be paralyzed from COVID to avoid taking care of her sickly mother. My 12-year-old cousin wouldn't eat any of the food that my 80-year-old grandma spent the whole day making because it wasn't Brazilian. His parents are 100% Italian and we do not have any Brazilian relatives. His parents are brain surgeons, so they're loaded. And their excuse was that he doesn't eat homemade stuff. Only high-end. I have no idea what that had to do with Brazilian food, but I'm assuming it's some sort of phase. I don't even think he's had Brazilian food before. Edit. Holy shit, I woke up with a lot of replies, but for clarification, my dad and his whole side of the family were born in Italy but had me here, so I'm American, and they celebrate Thanksgiving for me and my siblings, younger cousins. My kids got hammered wed night. One got left at the bar and walked 3 miles to get home. I woke up 3 a.m. and saw that one kid was missing, so I called him. He was still a mile from home, so I drove to get him. When I got to him, the police were questioning him. Said they had a report of a man with a weapon having a mental health crisis. Luckily, they got another call and let my doofus go home with me. The gravy was a war crime. The plastic cooking utensil melted into it. I was the first to find out. My cousin unfortunately came out as a flat earther while I was showing off my brand new telescope I bought recently. 2 bites into my meal at my mother-in-law's house, my Ring doorbell alerted me to someone ringing my doorbell. I pulled it up and catch an old man entering my house. I bolted out of my chair and went home. She lives close. I get there and no one is there. I pull up the video and see he exited like 20 seconds after he entered, grumbling, "HRRRM wrong house." The funny thing was, as we were leaving, I thought to myself, did I lock the front door? What are the fucking odds? My food was still warm when I got back to my mother-in-law's house. My in-laws have a place at a lake an hour or so from our house. Every time we go, my Sil takes the bedroom with a full bed and toddler bed for herself and her one child, who sleeps with her. Her other 2 children sleep with my in-laws. My husband and our 3 children are left trying to figure out where to sleep. Usually on an air mattress on the living room floor. Well, we came early and took the room. She is livid, stomping around and slamming doors. Has been for 4 hours. The power went out at the host's house and I ended up cooking and hosting at the last minute. Had to work. Multiple residents in the lobby. One resident drops part of her meal she was taking to family. Small child is knocked over by the extremely helpful dog who couldn't wait to assist with cleanup. One resident argued with her daughter when she arrived. Told her daughter that she wasn't going to dinner because half the family is unvaccinated. Another resident had their plans completely fucked when her son's transmission went out and was unable to pick her up, and poor guy was stuck at the halfway point and had to wait a few hours for a tow. And the last of it so far. Dude comes back from family dinner. He stops to chat. Apparently their holiday meal almost came to blows when the black sheep of the family turned up uninvited and tried to bum money from their elderly mother. Still have a few people out and still have a few hours left on shift, so there may be more to come as people stop by the desk to talk about their evening. Met my cousin's fiancé for the first time. She is clearly mentally unwell. She dominated all conversation with her non-stop ramblings, which included a story about the first time she masturbated and asked that we buy a baby xylophone for her chickens as a wedding gift. Showed up to the in-laws. Mill nowhere to be seen. Phil is in the kitchen working on almost finished dinner. We're told Mill isn't feeling well and is in the bathroom. Husband goes to check on her. Comes back a while later. Turns out she was stressed and ornery earlier in the day, so Phil offered her one of his edibles he has for medical purposes. She ate her first ever edible on Thanksgiving. Got dinner halfway done. Then ended up on the floor of the bathroom with dizzy spells and nausea. By the time we finished up dinner, she had fallen asleep. We moved her to her bed, then ate dinner without her. It was weird. My mom's had some issues that I think my dad has been downplaying. She has good days and bad. But today was bad. Nothing she said made sense. No sentence connected to another sentence. And sometimes the end of a sentence wouldn't connect to the beginning. And she was very frustrated with everyone that we didn't understand. She had conversations with people that weren't there. Swore people were there that were either dead or hadn't shown up. It was just my dad, her, and I. Very obvious who wasn't there. She saw me after dinner and said, "I'm so glad you finally made it. You missed it. It was a madhouse earlier with the kids running around." I could go on and on. But my dad brushed it off as her just being sleep deprived. It was kinda like talking to someone who was half awake and half dreaming. But this has happened a few times before. Not as bad. But she has refused to see a doctor. The tearjerker was when we gently helped her to understand that all night no one else had been here. And I could see it in her eyes. She said, "You're right. I do need to see someone. So I guess that's what we are doing in the morning. I hope she's having a good day. And it will be easier to bring her." Is this dementia? IDK man, I've never seen it before. My sister-in-law let everyone know that her husband has a small penis. I got first and second degree burns on my foot and calf from boiling water. After finishing off my truck stop turkey meal in my big rig truck, I went to use the facilities. Guy in the stall next to me was loudly watching funny videos on his phone and whacking off and moaning and intermittently laughing at the video. My boyfriend's brother bought over these really spicy chips he got at Five Below. I think they are called the spiciest chips in the world, IDK lol. Anyways, both of them ate one. About 5 minutes later, I walk into the kitchen and I see my boyfriend with tears rolling down his face and stuffing ice cream in his face, LMAO. Then he disappeared for a little bit. So I went upstairs and found him laying in the hallway, drenched in sweat and barely able to even speak. He said he threw up and he wasn't human for the next little bit. Both their grandparents were calling them idiots lol. My dad and stepmom were ragging on me, which is pretty normal. I came to their house for Thanksgiving and my brother showed up. My brother and I haven't seen each other in about 4 years. Anyway, so they're going on about me and my brother is getting visibly uncomfortable. They've been like this to me my whole life and I think my brother had that realization very suddenly. Same as I did when my girlfriend pointed it out. It was good to see someone get upset about the things they say to me. It makes me realize I'm not crazy.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.